Okay, good afternoon, everybody. So, people who are joining online, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, as usual, so let us see our schedule first. And today is week 13. We are still in the last quarter of this semester, and we are discussing object-oriented programming, class and object. And remember that you have quiz 7 due by this weekend. Please do not forget it, okay? And in our previous 2 weeks, I discussed object-oriented programming with live programs. Was that helpful? Did you? Yes. Oh, thank you. Did you get idea about object-oriented programming? How do we write object-oriented program? So the concept of object-oriented programming is that we will write our program in real-life fashion. For instance, when you need a window, you will make a template of a window, and then boom, we need a window one. So you say window 1 equal to new window, and you need another window is type window 1, window 2 equal to new window. As many window you need, once you will declare your class one time, and you will reuse many times. There are other advanced reusability features like inheritance. We are not discussing that in this lecture, in this course. So I hope, so after this module, you will be interested in learning object-oriented programming. So which is 1322, totally about object-oriented programming. I wish you will take that course, or if you do not take that course, even watch my lecture video on YouTube about 1322 during the semester break, or there are tons of videos online available, whatever you like. So if you like learn object-oriented programming, then that is you are learning new concept or new paradigm of programming. So as usual, what we do, so I covered almost everything for this module about object-oriented programming with live program. Okay, so can you remember what did I discuss in our last lecture? The last thing what we covered. What was the last topic that I covered in our last lecture? Yes, how to declare a class, how to declare an object, then especially how to access fields or object value. And special thing that we discussed constructor, and last thing that we discussed setter and getter method, right? Setter and getter method are used to maintain privacy or security, either privacy or security of data. Okay, so that our private data or data cannot be accessed by unauthorized. I'm sorry, just camera. By unauthorized user. Can you please give me 1 second? Tomorrow morning. Thank you. Sorry, it's my important call. Okay. So we maintain privacy and security of data using getter and setter method. Setter method and getter method can be used for any kind of variable, but we especially use to access private variable. Okay. Okay. So now let us go to the slides. Okay. So today I will mainly go to slides, and then I hope you will see that we covered it almost everything. Okay. And this module is completely practice oriented. If you do not practice programming, object oriented programming, you will not be able to answer. So almost for your test 3, you will get 50% of your test 3 questions from this module. Okay, you have to ask, you will just write a class, write a constructor, an overloaded constructor, a default constructor. Okay, create an object, write getter method, setter method. Okay, override the toString method. These 4, 5, 5, 6 steps you need to remember. So I like you to practice programming. Okay, so what we are being motivated with to learn object-oriented programming, right? So object-oriented programming is a new paradigm or concept of programming. That, as I told you, that we know that in real life, a building like this building was built with starting from some sand, rock, bricks, stones, and then wood, right? And then after a few months, this building was completed, or a few years, right? So now once we have a building like this, now if we say like building like B1 like this, if I say another building like this, say B2, then another building will be created exactly like this. So in reality, it is not be possible, maybe it's not possible to, but it's possible like factory. So whenever there are like factory for to make pen or pencil, right? So they are, for a factory, they are making pencil. They are maybe making or designing, making 100 or 1,000 pencil in a minute, right? So that means once they have a structure. The structure we say in class here, the format, right? So they are giving on one side carbon or materials, another side wood, and then other side they are getting output as a complete pencil, right? This is we say that it is cost effective. Otherwise, if people need to make a pencil by cutting wood by hand, it would be costly. Like a pencil would be maybe cost $100. It would not be affordable. Now we see that pencil is a cents, 1 cent or 2 cents. Okay, so the concept of object-oriented programming is to like that. We will create a class, a template, and we will create as many instances or as we need for the class in no time. Just a single command. In order to execute in a single command in a computer program, it needs only a few seconds, right? Few milliseconds, not seconds, so few milliseconds. So the class is the foundation of object-oriented programming. Okay, and we say an instance of a class is called object. So in real life, when you have a tree, right, the tree gives us some fruits, right? So like if you have a class, if you consider the class as a tree, then whatever instance it will give us a fruit, right? So I have a banana tree, so it will give a banana. It will give us some banana, right? If you have a mango tree, it will give us mango, right? So class contains two things, some variables and some functions. So variables are used to hold actual value for the object of that kind of class. So if we say student is a class, right, what are the attributes of a student? A student has a name, a student has an ID, a student has a social security number, a student has an ID number for date of birth. So for every student, these are the features, right? So that for variables are used to hold all individual students those features. And then we have some methods in order to access those features, those variables. So variables in a class are called attributes. Okay, and the function of a class is called method. That or member function that is used to express behaviors of an object. Okay, so class contains two things, some variables and some functions. Okay, and an object actually holds the value for those variables and holds the action, actual action. Okay, one thing that if you please remember that sometimes it is difficult to understand the difference between a class and an object. Okay, one thing that you can remember that a class is a concept, it is invisible. Class, whenever you say class, there is concept, you cannot see a class. So whenever we say student, right, it is a concept, right, a concept of a kind of people that who study, who go to school. But whenever we say please call a student, then you will call someone, Daniel or Carson or someone, right? So you will call Daniel, that means Daniel is a student. Okay. So sometime whenever I can say Daniel is a student, that is a student object. So Daniel is visible, but whenever we say student, student is not visible. Understand difference? Okay, don't be misled, please. Okay. Then we understand we learn what is the structure of a class. It starts with a class keyword, and this is the in pseudocode format, and then it says begin and then it says end. I like everybody, actually my student in my class, please do not try to write pseudocode for class declaration. It's difficult. Okay, instead writing class in program format is easy. Okay, what I like you to do, I give you complete programs, right? Some I can give you more programs. So just take a piece of paper and write it. Okay, write it 4 or 5 times. Okay, then you will be used to, and then you will be familiar with the format. And then later you you open a Replit program and try to write it by yourself without looking at the code. Whenever you do mistake, then look at the code. At least try few minutes or seconds to understand what is the mistake. This is not the thing that you will memorize. Okay, memorization is not work. It will not work for you. Just to, so you do some mistake. I like you that everybody does mistake, but the best people is that the wise people that who learn from mistakes, right? Nobody can tell that I do not do any mistake. Okay. So this is a template of a class. Its name is dog. Okay, and you start with curly brace and end in curly brace. In Java and C#, this is the same format, but C++ is a little bit different. It ends with an additional semicolon. Okay. So by declaring class, what we are doing, we are creating a concept, or say, as we say, class, the template or blueprint, whatever you say, we are creating concept. And then later in our program, or in our mainly in another method or another class, we create object. So we discuss how easy to create an object, right? Creating an object is easier, very easier than writing a class. Writing a class is sometimes difficult, but creating object is easy. That means once we see that, we have seen that once you write a class, then creating an object is easy. Okay. Whenever we create object, then once we create object, we use either default constructor or argument constructor, argumented overloaded constructor, to provide value to the attributes. Okay. And every object in this world is unique. You remember that? Hey, you believe that? Every object in this world is unique. Even these two chairs, even there's some chairs, right? They're same, the quality is same, price is same, maybe their weight, height, dimensions are same, okay? The same company, but are they unique or different? They are different, right? In terms of at least there is one different feature. What will be the different feature? That this chair is different than this chair. Okay, that's good. Quick thing. But let us understand the thing that consider that this yellow one and the third yellow one, both right-handed, right? How can we say that these are two different chairs, not one different chair? Yes, in terms of their position, right? So in the earth or a table or any place, we cannot put the two chairs in the same position. We can put side by side or one above another, right? Or on under another. So in terms of position, they are different. So everything in this world, every object in this world is unique. Okay. So objects, actually in object-oriented programming, it is ensured that in one object data will not be messed up with another object data. How do we ensure that? We use, remember that we use this operator, right? We said this dot name equal to name. That means, so I have this student name equal to this student name, this student name equal to this student name. Okay, so we use this operator. Okay, so here I have a question. Everybody understand the dog class? How do you create dog class? Has anyone any confusion? How do we create a class? You understand, right? Okay. In my next lecture, I will ask you to show your program. Please bring your computer and show me your program that you practice. Okay. I want to make sure that everybody practice this program, at least one program. Okay. So once you can create a dog class, then you can create a bank account class. You can create a student class. You can create a customer class. You can create a cat class. You can create a car class. So once we because we have idea, right? What are the features of a bank account? What are the attributes of bank account? A bank account has a like account name, right? Account owner name, owner address, owner maybe contact number, email address, social security number, age, okay, amount, or current balance, deposit, withdraw history, right? These are the features. So if we can declare a class, bank account class with 3 or 4 features. We can add more features later, more attribute later, right? And these are the like deposit, withdraw, create balance, get history, get balance. These are the functions. Okay. So we went through this example, how to declare a dog class, right? And then how to, so in a dog class, so these are the characteristics or attributes or features, okay, that are declared through variables. Okay, and these are the behaviors. These will be function. Behaviors are declared with function, right? So a dog eats, a dog growls, a dog sleep, a dog run. As many behavior you can get in your mind, you can add. Okay. So these are the skeleton of a dog class I discussed, and then okay, these are the pseudocode format. So in your, I'm urging you, please practice writing actual code. Writing, you see that this is the pseudocode, and instead this is the what is that one? This is the pseudocode, and this is this actual code is more concise. Okay. Okay, so so then what is a constructor? Can anyone please tell me the definition of a constructor? What is a constructor? People from online, can you please tell me what is a constructor? Yes. Is a constructor is a method. Okay. It's a function method, right? Of a class. Method means the a function within a class. Okay, that is used for what? Yes. Assigned to you to assign is used to assign values. Values for what? For the attributes. Okay. Attributes, not for function. Okay, not for action. Attributes of an instance of a class, that is an object. So we are telling object. What is the difference between an object and a variable? What is the difference between, yes? Please speak loudly. Yes, an object is a combination of multiple variables. That's a good thing. So, but in shortcut, I wanted to say that a class is a type of instance of a class. An object is an instance of a class, but a variable is an instance of one of the 8 primitive data types. Right? So there are many human beings. So you know they are moving outside. Whoever go to school, they are students, right? But everybody is human being, right? If they do not study, they do not go to school, we do not say them student. Do you understand the difference between a student and a human being? Right? Same thing. So in order to be a student, it needs to have some studying feature, right? The feature that study, that needs to study or do research or something. Otherwise, it's a human being, but not a student. Similarly, if our data type is one of the 8 primitive data type, then we say variable. Okay, variable, that is the another difference is that a variable contain only one kind of value, one kind of data. An integer type variable contain only integer data. It cannot hold any string data. Okay. It cannot have any boolean, it cannot have a boolean data, but you see that a student, it contains multiple kinds of data, right? A student, its name is a string type data, is male, you say is male, it's a true boolean type, right? Is alive, it's boolean type. You say is student, is alive, is a boolean type, right? So height or weight, this will be float or double type. ID can be integer type. So it's combination of multiple types, right? Okay. So another thing is that I can give another example in real life. So everybody here know how to cook something, even noodles. Daniel know how to cook? Never? You have never cooked something, anything? Okay. So girls, you know how to cook something? Okay. So what are the things that you can cook? Tell me. Vegetable? Okay, let us consider when you cook vegetable, right? So that we include some ingredients, salt, water, right? Then some spices, maybe chili, right? Oil, vegetable oil or something, for instance. But okay, we give salt. After we cook, right? So if everything is perfect, its test is good, right? But if something is missing, we realize that, right? The salt is missing, or salt is heavy. We realize that, right? Okay. But after you cook some vegetable, is it possible that you can extract the ingredient? You can separate the salt, you can separate oil, you can exactly whole amount. No, you cannot do that, right? But you can realize that there is a salt missing, or there is something missing, right? Exactly, an object is like that. Okay, whenever object you have, you can realize that whatever features it has. As we saw that in our program, as soon as we give dot operator, then it shows what are the features it has, right? Okay, so like a vegetable or something, whenever we cook, we use multiple types of ingredients, right? So salt is one kind, oil is another kind ingredient, right? Chili is another kind, but we use onion another kind. So, but in combination we get a different kind. There is an object. Okay, so a constructor, every class contains a constructor. Sometimes if the constructor is not available, we say this is default constructor. Okay, but in this class, the default constructor is hidden, withdraw. So there is no explicit. The hidden default constructor is implicit here. Okay, but we have an overloaded constructor. Whenever we have some arguments, parameters, this is called overloaded constructor. Class may have overloaded constructor. One thing is that how do I know that it is a constructor? So in pseudocode, you have to write the constructor keyword. But in actual program code, whenever we see a method, there is a name exactly same name of its class name, then we call this a constructor. Okay. And when we create an object, we call this constructor. So constructor is used only for creating object purpose, nothing else. A class can contain any number of attributes, any number of behavior or functions. Okay. So this is the pseudocode. This is the pseudocode of method, right? So begin main and end main. This is the pseudocode of. So your class code will be inside. Okay, I'm sorry. So your class, a program can have multiple classes. Okay, a class can contain another class. That is called inner class or outer class, right? So when we are a baby, we are in our mom's wombs, right? Tummy, right? Belly. But when we grow up, we no longer live there, right? We are independent or separate human being, right? But at some certain point, everybody as a human being, or almost all animals, sometimes they stay or live in their mother's belly, right? So that is inner class. So outer class is mother is outer class, and the inner class is the baby class. Okay. So a baby has some kind of identity or some kind of, but it's not independent, right? Whenever baby lives in a mother's belly, a baby is not independent, right? The baby has to depend with mother. But whenever we grow up, we are mostly dependent, right? So here, so we are developing independent class, separate class. Okay. But whenever we will create a class separately, then in another class or another method, we will create object. Okay. So every program, we know that every program starts with a main class, main method, right? Every program. So far we discussed that all programs have a main method, but can have programs without main method. We are not discussing that in this course. So for all programs in this course that we discussed, we have a main method. So in the main method, for instance, within main method, so we create J1, J2 as dog. That means here J1 and J2 are object. Okay, and then if I say create x1, x2 as integer, then x1 and x2 are what? Variables, right? Remember that I'm iterating again and again. Here x1 and x2 are integer type, so x1 and x2 are variable, but here j1 and j2 are dog type, so j1 and j2 are object. Okay, so whenever we create j1 and j2, these two objects, what in memory place, it will take some null value, empty. Okay, it will have empty value, nothing in it. But later we see whenever we use constructor or use dot operator to initialize value, and actually initialize values, then it gets actual value. And one thing is that we use here. So here in the constructor, we are using the constructor and we are giving value. First value is for the first parameter and second value is the second parameter. Okay, so assume that we have this constructor. And assume that the first constructor W is integer type and N is for string type. So actually in pseudocode, it does not say something that what is the type of this which attribute, but in actual program code you need to strictly follow the type. So this is why I urge you to write actual code, not pseudocode. If you still used to writing pseudocode for your class design, I'm doubt that you will not be understand. You will not be understanding, okay? So here we say J1 and J2 as dog, and then again say J1 equal to, so you can say equal sign instead of arrow, you can say equal sign, okay? It's good. Equal new is a keyword, and we are calling this constructor here, and we are passing value 14 for the first parameter of the constructor, and the Bob is the second value of the constructor. Okay, and if we say in the constructor, if we say rabbit, for instance, rabbit equal to false, that means for all dog, rabbit equal to false. This is default value. And if we say weight equal to W, that means instead of, so whatever weight you pass over here, that value, whatever value you pass over here, that value will go to the weight attribute. And whatever is second value you put over here, name, so that value will go for the second one over here, and it is linking over here, name equal to N. So the value you are passing, it initially will go N, and then it is lastly will go to name. Okay. So unless we use new operator, and then a dog object will be just name, but in reality it will not be created. What is the difference that I can say? For instance, if you plan to buy a dog, okay, let us assume that Daniel, you plan to buy a dog, okay, with your family member. Maybe you are planning to buy a dog. So before you buy a dog, maybe you will buy a dog house, you will make a dog house or something, right? You will make some plan, right? Or even in your mindset, you may think that, okay, I will buy a dog and I will give name of my dog as J1, right? If you think, okay, I will buy 2 dogs and I will give my name, dog's name is J1 and J2. So that until you buy the dog, actually, your name is virtual, right? But whenever you buy a dog, then you can give it actual real name, right? So that whenever you use new operator, then actually you have brought it. You bought it, you purchased it. Unless you use this is imaginary. It is not effective. Okay. Think about that. When we were a baby, whenever our parents were expecting us, right? They had spent many times, right? Every parents do, right? They spend many hours to find a good name for their baby, right? Okay. Okay, so they sometimes they select a name. Okay, if I have a boy baby, then I will give this name. If I have a girl baby, then I will give this name, right? Nowadays, people know ahead of time, right? Whether it will be boy baby or girl. So then, once a baby is born, before a baby was born, they can select a name, right? But before a baby is born, can they get a social security number for the baby? No. They cannot get it, right? After a baby is born, only they can get social security number, right? So that is the concept, that baby is born over using new operator. Until you use new operator, object is not created. Object is not fully created. That's imagined, okay? Understand? So this is the pseudocode format, and then whenever you say J1 new J1, you see that J1 and new doc. So what will happen over here? You see that. So then whenever we pass some value, so their value, the first value will go for this W, and second value will go for name, and then this will be at some point, this will be passed to actual memory location. The memory will hold this value. So here, for instance, for all dog, I said rabbit equal to false. Rabbit will be false. Rabbit is this memory location, and weight will be 14. And object is called create. Okay, so then we can create as many objects as we need. But remember that one thing: do not be misled. We are not creating real dog. We are creating imaginary dog. Okay, virtual dog. As long as our purpose is fulfilled, we should be happy, right? Nowadays, in addition to using paper money, we use virtual money, right? We use our credit card, debit card, for instance, and we virtually spend and virtually actually pay our bill, right? So everybody is familiar with that, okay? Only God can create a dog. We cannot create. Don't be misled, please. Okay, so here instead of J1, so we can say J1 equal to new dog. So I can say, you can see equal sign. Okay, equal sign is should be fine. In pseudocode, you can give equal sign. Okay, don't worry if I cannot upload this lecture video, I will share a previous semester lecture video. Okay, almost same thing. Okay. So now we see that J1, whenever we use new operator, and then as through constructor we assign values, then these values will be placed in memory. And then later, whenever we say this statement J2 equal to new dog 7, then Ethel, then for these cells will be fulfilled with this value. So here in this case, rabbit will be false, right? So our default constructor says for all dogs, rabbit is false. So rabbit will be false, and then here weight will be 7 and name will be Ethel. So this is how we see that an object data is kept separate from another object. Okay, so this is how they are not mixed up. In real life, we expect that, right? I should have my name, I should know my social security number, I should know my address, I should have my own address, and you have your own address, right? Whenever someone asks the same question, what is your name? I will tell my name, you will tell your name, he will tell his name, she will tell her name, right? That is how it is implemented in object-oriented programming. Okay, so you see that these slides are almost same, so please go through these slides. Okay, I like everybody to download this, okay, slides. Download this slide and put it in your own folder, okay? Okay, in this course, not only this course, anywhere, anybody here is familiar with GitHub? You too? Arjun and you? Your name is Daniel, right? Also? True, Daniel? You know, you are not familiar, Daniel? Huh? Okay, so I like you. This is actually in my other course. Oh, nice. I wish I would enforce you. I could enforce you, okay, to become used to in GitHub. Ultimately, you will be using this. Maybe second year, in third year or fourth year, or before graduation or after graduation, okay? Okay, but if you are become used to using right now, then you will be one step ahead. Okay, you can put all of your programs over here, like Replit account. So the GitHub is used to hold a complete what is that called, project structure. Whenever you go for a company or a teamwork, they use GitHub. Nobody will allow you to use floppy drive or flash drive to copy code or save code. That is a violation. Nobody will use it. Okay, so whatever we say that we will use our GitHub account to save. So if someone asks me, okay, if I go for interview, I will just give him my this is one of my, I have multiple GitHub account, one of my GitHub accounts. So if someone goes to this my GitHub account and they can see that, okay, so someone said that, okay, this person, he has 87 repositories. This means one repository means one complete project. Okay, so that I have this. Sometimes you see that by looking in a second, they can assume that how much do I practice. You see that for this one, there is a bump over here and then some straight line. So at the bumping place, it says that I did some practice over here. I did some coding change, I did coding over here, okay? And then straight, that means for a long time, I do not work on this project. See, for a long time, I did not work this project. I save almost all of my documents. My resumes, my research work, my whatever I put over here. So that any time from anywhere I need to download something, if I go to my account and it's one click, I can download. Like you save your file in Google Drive, right? And anywhere you go, you can download. So please be used to in GitHub. So using GitHub is like 2 hours for you. If you study 2 hours, then you will be able. If you spend 2 hours in the weekend, then we will be able to start using GitHub. So if you might go to my YouTube channel, then I have a playlist. It's called GitHub.
I like that.
If you search for the GitHub, what is that one? I have a playlist. It says Git and GitHub related. Then you will see, okay, this one. Either see the 10 or 11 videos only.
Hey.
10 or 11 videos only. So if you practice this 10 or 11 videos, you will be able to start using GitHub, okay? And if you start now, you will be one step ahead. For your job interview or internship interview, you will just give them your GitHub account, then people will see. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is the pseudocode format for eat method and growl method. So this is okay. So we don't have this. We will add these methods. Okay. So in order to add a method, we need to say that we need to say start method, method name, and then in method. So writing pseudocode it seems to be clumsy for me. I don't like to write pseudocode for, especially for class decoration. So I'm getting some noise from. So please keep yourself muted. So this is the class decoration in pseudocode format for dog class. You may get full point for your class decoration in your test, but I like you to be used to writing actual code, okay? Actual code format as much as possible. Then it's easy, and then you will see that it is okay. Working. And then we use dot operator, right? Using dot is simple. Sometimes, but in C# we use arrow operator. So dot operator is that instance or object name dot attribute or method name. Just come. It's very simple. So dot operators are used to get the instance attribute, to get to the instance method, and basically the inside of an instance, get inside. So we can see what that attribute contains. I will go to live program maybe at the end of today's lecture. So whatever we say that j1.eat2, that means it is a method, and 2 is the value that is passing to eat method, an integer type value. Maybe this dog eats 2 pounds, maybe in a day or a week, whatever is said. Okay. And so how do we know that this is a method? It has a pair of parentheses, right? This is method call. Okay. And this is a j1.name equal to fluffy. So this is here, we can use a main method, we can use dot operator only if our attribute or method is public or protected, or default, or we can say it's non-private. If it is private, then we cannot do that. We cannot access a private attribute directly using dot operator. How do we access those? Using getter and setter method. We declare another kind of method we call getter and setter method. Okay, and we call this getter and setter method to access those variables. Okay. So our program in real life program, we know that this our C# program. It says dog.cs. This is the CS. That means this is the dog class. We will understand that dog class is defined in this method. And in C++, usually we create header file and we put over there. So in the header file, we say .h. Okay, and then so in implementation, we create the body of the file in another file that is called dog.cpp. Actually, we are not going in depth about this, but we are using Replit that creates automatically this header file and then this .cpp file. in your test, you don't need to write this header file. Just you start from class. Even there are some import statement. You don't need to write import statement. We will assume that it will be automatically. Okay, so this is the actual code format. You see that code format insert boolean rabbit false. What do we mean by this? Can anyone please tell me? Yes, from Carl, please tell me, what do you mean by this? You understand this? What is mean by this? So you see that this rabbit, weight, and name, these are the attribute, right? So while we are declaring attribute, we are giving also their value, default value. That means for all dog, we will get rabbit false value, and weight will be 0 pound, and then name will be empty. So these are the default value for all dogs. We usually do not want that. What do we want to do? We want to use constructor, and we want to use constructor to provide the value, whatever we want. So for instance, we say W, so we say this is fluid W, that means we say weight equal to W. And then if we say, I will discuss that, if we say, if we use different name, this is the argument name and this is the attribute name. If they are different, then we do not need this operator, right? And this is optional over here, and this is optional. Otherwise, we need this operator if they are same name, exactly same name. And this is the it method, and this is the girl method. So the it method, whatever you want, you need, you can implement over here. So please practice this program, okay? Please practice this program, and then you will see. In the main method, so this is the class in one file. It can have it in the, so this is the, and this is one class, a dog class start here, and dog class it ends here. And we have another class. This is main class, and this is end of main class. So this is end of main. So actually, so this main class, it does not have any attribute. Just it has method. Because for the main method, we don't need any attribute. We need just to start our program. Okay, so only it has the main method. And then within main method, what I'm doing, I'm creating object. So then I said dog D1 equal to new dog. So what do we mean by this statement? So here you say dog, this is type. D1 is a type of dog. If I have a class, then I could say animal. I could say animal D1. D1 is an animal. Okay, we know that in this world there are thousands kinds of animals, right? Are all animals dog? No. There are some animals dog, right? So we say that D1 is an animal, and then there is a dog animal. So here there is difference is that if I have an animal class, if I do not have animal class, I cannot write this. Assume that we have a class animal, then we can write this. But here we don't have animal class, we have dog class over here. So then we are telling that is dog D1. So there are two things. This is type and this is constructor. So this is the constructor. Constructor is a method, right? So how do we know that this is a method? This is parenthesis and this is parenthesis. Closing parenthesis and opening parenthesis, and these are the values. So if an attribute is fluid type, so here what is a fluid, then in Java and some languages we need to give an F after value. But it is double, if it is double, you don't need to give any value. Okay, so this fluid value will go for the first parameter in the constructor. So in the constructor, what is the first parameter? W. And W, what is doing W? W is assigning value for weight. I said weight equal to W. So whatever you pass value for W, that will actually pass to weight attribute. Okay. And the second attribute is fluffy. So this attribute will go to the value will go to the second parameter. And second parameter, what is doing over here? It is going to the name. Okay. So whatever I gave, so my dog will get this one weight, this much weight, and this name. And when I say d1.eat passing 3, that means it will go to the eat method. It has eat method, and then it said eat method. It takes an argument fluid type. Okay, then how much it eats. That I'm saying that 3, maybe 3 pounds per week or per day, whatever I say. Okay, one thing that I saw that many of you did mistake. So we do not use comma. In a program code, actual program code, we do not use comma to assign value. Okay. So in a test, you have something like declare an object, an array of maybe 100,000, right? User will just write 100,000, 100,000 like this. You will not use comma. If you use comma, then you will do mistake. Comma does not take, compiler does not take comma. Okay. And it is float type, then it takes an F, either an uppercase or lowercase f. If it is double, then you don't need it. Okay. And then in C sharp, bool and Java is Boolean, right? This is the difference. There are few difference. Okay, so here and another thing is that what is that? This is the constructor. This is in C++. In C++, you see that. So C++, we use public then colon. That is called access modifier. There are 3 kinds of access modifier: public, private, and protected. We are learning only for public for now in this course. Okay. So you can, if you do not say C in C sharp, in C++, if you do not say public, then it will not work. You need to say public. Okay. So if it is public, then there are some advantages that other classes, from another class, we can use dot operator to access this attribute. But there is a disadvantage that it can break security or privacy of data. So to ensure privacy and security of data, what do we use? We use getter and setter method. We use getter and setter method. Okay. To assign value to the private attribute. In the last lecture, I discussed that. So that in the last few minutes of my last lecture, okay, please review that. You will get a test question. Okay. And here in C++, we see that void dog colon. This colon is called scope operator. It means that each class is defined within dog. So each method is defined within dog class. That means where is the each method located originally? Is original located. So in the header file, we see that in C++, this is header file. So this is the header file. It's from .h. So in the header file, and this is the C++ PPB file. That is the actual implementation of the code. Okay, so it says that means this dog is within the dog class. and then eat method within the dog class. This is called scope operator. And in C# and in Java, we do not need to use header file. It's easy. Coding is easy. Okay. So C++ is one of the oldest object-oriented programming. Actually, in academia, when I was a student like you, we are taught C++ programming language to learn object-oriented. I learned object-oriented programming with C++. Now it seems to me hard. C++ is one of the difficult programming languages. Compared to whatever the difficulties in C++ did have, in new languages like Java and C#, those difficulties are removed and made easy. So whoever taking C++ lab or course, you need to do more practice. But C++ has some extra advantages, like who want to be an electrical engineer, for instance, okay, or electronic engineer. There's sometime whenever you make a new device, you add some parts and a device. In order to access the device in root level, you can go with C++ easily. To handle operating system, it's easy in C++. It is powerful. Okay, so and then in C++ there are two formats to create an object. This is the one format. I can say dog d1, and then we do not need to use new operator, or you can use, this is called actually pointer. So d star, actually this pointer, star is pointer, is a part of this type. No, sorry, it's part of type. Part of this, actually it is part of this. But in some book or text you can say like this space, or you may have here. Everything works. So at least put here. And so explicitly we say dog star d2 equal to new dog. We are using new operator over here when you use pointer, and then if we use pointer, then we use arrow operator, not dot. So C++ people, give attention here, please. Okay. Okay, summary, and one thing I see missing over here. What is why is missing here? Okay, I can give you another. I will add another slide. Okay, from 1322 for what do we miss over here? Override true string method and greater than setter method, right? I covered those, but those are missing in these slides. Okay, in our next lecture, I hope I will review another write another program. Okay, you can bring a problem for me. Okay, you will detect me and I will write over here. You can ask me to write a account class or a student class or employee class or a chair class or building class, but college class, university class, whatever you can say. I will ask a few things. What are the attributes? Okay, so if you say building, if you ask me to write a building class, what I will ask you? If you tell me the few things, what is the location of the building, right? One thing you need location, right? Or I can say city name, maybe city, or I can say in higher level location, city name, I can say state name. And then I will ask you, what is the dimension of the building, right? I can say height, width, length. Okay. And I will say other question, what is the color, right? So if you can give me this attribute, I can write easily, right? And then I like you, if I give attribute, you should be able to write. Okay. So in our next lecture, we will do some hands-on activities. Okay, everybody please come in face-to-face lecture and bring your own laptop. Okay, you will be writing some code. Okay, two things. First of all, you will be asking me to write any code, I will but actually I need you to write yourself. Okay, I like you to write yourself, and then what I like you to do, so meanwhile, so please practice programming. At least everybody write the program that I discussed in our last lecture. What is that called? You say doc class. You say go, if you go to my rep page, then you will see this is doc class in Java, and this is in C++, and this is in C#. So at least do it in own language. Then whenever you do it in own language first, please try to do it in two other languages. But your primary language, right? If you are taking your Java lab, I mean that your own language is Java, okay? First language in Java, then try in C# and C++. Especially people who are taking C++ lab, it will be difficult. So please practice, okay? Unless you practice, you will not be able to complete. But if you practice this course, then your test 3 will be very simple, easy. Has anyone any questions so far? You have any question? Yes. What is that? Sorry. In the teams, you have teams, right? So then in the teams, if you go to teams, then you see that I created a group and I added you. You are not a member? So what is your question? I don't understand. So when you go here, you click over here, right? What is your question? You click over here. What is this question? You understand? Yeah. Okay, you can talk to me after class. Okay, talk to me after class. Okay. Has anyone any other question?